There's a version of you've met 1,000 times in the mirror. The one who cries at movies other people call not that sad. The one who hears a sudden noise and feels their whole body jump like it was an earthquake. The one who needs to go home early from a party because the music, the voices, the constant tiny social calculations start to feel like a storm in your skull. And then, on top of all of that, you get the comments. You're too sensitive. Relax, it's not that deep. Why are you making such a big deal out of nothing? So you start to doubt yourself. You replay every reaction. You rehearse every conversation in your mind. You wonder if maybe you are exactly what they say you are. Overreacting, dramatic, fragile. But here's the thing no one really explained to you. You're not reacting this way on purpose. You're not choosing to feel more. Your nervous system just doesn't have the same volume setting as theirs. Let's give it a name. You're a hypersensitive person, not as an insult, not as a diagnosis, as a description of how your system works. Your mind and body are like an antenna that picks up signals other people don't even know exist. The lighting in a room, the tension in someone's voice, the small shift in someone's face when their smile doesn't reach their eyes. You notice the way a text message feels, even when there are no emojis. You can tell when someone is pulling away before they've decided to admit it to themselves. Sounds, smell, and because of that, your internal world is loud. It's not that the world is too much in some abstract way. It's that your whole system is tuned to pick up the too much faster and stronger than most people. That's what I mean when I say hypersensitive. So what's actually going on inside you? Think of your nervous system as a security guard. Some people's guard walks the halls calmly, checking doors, yawning. Yours is pacing, scanning every corner, noticing every sound. The music gets too loud, the guard hits the alarm. Heart rate climbs, breathing shortens. You're overwhelmed and you want to leave. Someone raises their voice, even slightly, the guard grabs your hand and pulls you inside. You shrink, you freeze, you overthink every word. Your brain and body are not trying to ruin your life, they're trying to keep you safe. If your system has learned that small changes can turn into big danger, it will react early and strong. That's why little things don't feel little to you. A joke at your expense, a slightly cold tone, someone being off but saying, "I'm fine," a late reply, plans changing at the last minute. Other people might register it as a dot. You experience the whole pattern. Emotionally, it's similar. Feelings don't just visit you, they move in. Joy, sadness, disappointment, jealousy, shame. They're not background noise, they're surround sound. This is why you might experience what feels like emotional hangovers. A deep conversation, a conflict, embarrassment, even a beautiful moment can leave you drained for days. It's not because you're weak, it's because your system isn't lightly touching events, it's absorbing them fully. Hypersensitivity can be part of how you were born, a temperament, a trait, but how it feels to live with it depends a lot on where it landed. Imagine being a sensitive kid in a loud, chaotic home. Arguments in the next room, doors closing harder than they need to, sarcasm used as a normal way of talking, big emotional swings that no one explains. Your system learns, stay on high alert, watch everything, feel everything. It might keep you safe. Or maybe you grew up in a home where sensitivity was treated as weakness. "Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about." "Why are you so dramatic?" "Don't be a baby." Maybe you heard that from family, teachers, friends, or whole cultures obsessed with toughness. So you make an agreement with yourself. If I can't stop feeling so much, I'll at least hide it better. You start apologizing for your own reactions. You laugh it off when someone hurts you. You say, "It's fine, I'm just sensitive." You make a joke before anyone else can. On the outside, you try to wear chill like a mask. On the inside, you're still that child who felt too much for the room they were in. Sometimes, hypersensitivity isn't the problem. The problem is, no one taught you how to live with it. So what now? How do you live with a hypersensitive system without constantly fighting it or apologizing for it? First, you stop asking one impossible thing from yourself: to feel less. Instead of, "Why am I like this?" try, "Given that I'm like this, what do I need?" It sounds simple. It's not. It means you might start protecting your sensitivity like something precious. Maybe you give yourself permission to leave events early without making up a dramatic excuse. "I'm getting tired. I'm going to head out now," is a complete sentence. Maybe you create tiny sensory boundaries: earphones, softer lighting at home, real breaks from your phone, spaces where you're not always reachable. Not because you're fragile, because your system gets full faster. Maybe you start noticing who drains you and who feels regulating. The friend who constantly jokes about your feelings versus the one who says, "I get it. That would have hurt me too." You might not be able to redesign your entire life overnight, but you can start with small, very human experiments. One less social obligation this week. 10 minutes of quiet after work before you reply to anyone. Pausing to ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Even if the answer is messy. And then there's the way you talk to yourself. When you cry for no reason, instead of saying, "Ugh, I'm so pathetic," you could try, "Something in me is overwhelmed. I might not know what yet, but it matters." When you get overstimulated and snappy, instead of, "I'm horrible," try, "My system is at capacity. What can I reduce right now, even a little?" It's not about turning your life into a bubble. It's about acknowledging you have limits, like every other human, just with different settings. And slowly, you might find that your sensitivity becomes less of a curse and more of a compass. It will still hurt sometimes. It will still be inconvenient. But it will also allow you to live in a way that's more honest, more aligned, more deeply present. So here you are now, an adult, trying to function in a world built for thicker skin. You might notice some quiet patterns. You get exhausted faster than other people in social situations. You either overcommit, saying yes to everything, or cancel at the last minute because your system just can't anymore. You might avoid certain places, crowded malls, busy cafes, noise-heavy events, but feel guilty about it because everyone else can handle it. In relationships, you can feel like a burden for needing reassurance, needing clarity, needing deeper conversations instead of constant distractions. You notice small shifts in your partner or friends, and when they say, "It's nothing," You still feel it in your body. Then you start wondering, am I crazy? Am I making things up? Why can't I just let things go? There's also the self-criticism. You might call yourself weak for crying easily. You might shame yourself for getting overstimulated by noise, light, crowds, too many tasks at once. You push through anyway, and then collapse in private. From the outside, you seem like you're functioning. On the inside, you live in a world that's a few decibels louder than everyone else's. And when people tell you, just don't take it so personally, they're basically telling a person without earplugs to just get used to the siren. They don't realize your nervous system isn't built like theirs. Here's a thought you might not be used to. What if your sensitivity isn't the enemy? What if it's a form of intelligence? Not IQ, not grades, a different kind. You notice patterns in people. You sense tension before arguments start. You pick up on the one friend who goes quiet when everyone else is loud. You can feel when a room is safe and when it isn't, without anyone saying a word. You get moved by music, art, words, moments that other people scroll past without a second thought. You're able to sit with someone in pain because you don't need things to be light all the time. You might think you're too much, but often you've just been surrounded by people who benefit from you tuning yourself down. You were never too sensitive for a healthy environment. You were too sensitive for an environment that refused to slow down, get honest, or take responsibility. Your system did what it had to do. It amplified everything so you could survive. Sensitivity is not random brokenness. It's your body's way of trying to navigate the world as safely and honestly as it can. That doesn't mean it's always comfortable. It doesn't mean it's easy. But it does mean you are not defective. If no one ever told you this before, let me say it now. You're not broken because you feel more. You're not ridiculous for being moved by things other people ignore. You're not weak for needing more rest, more quiet, more care. You are a person whose inner volume has always been louder than the world knew what to do with. Of course you're tired. Of course you've questioned yourself. Of course you've tried to shut it down. But that sensitivity in you is also the part that loves deeply, notices beauty in small things, senses when someone is hurting, and sees through surface-level noise. You don't have to turn it off to be worthy. You don't have to harden to deserve respect. You're allowed to build a life that fits your nervous system, to choose softer people, quieter spaces, gentler timelines. And if your sensitivity feels too heavy to carry alone, it's more than okay to talk to someone about it. A therapist, a counselor, or a person you trust who knows how to listen. This isn't therapy. It's not a diagnosis. It's just a reminder. You are not too sensitive for being human. You are exactly as sensitive as your story taught you to be. And slowly, you can learn to live with that in a way that doesn't crush you, but actually honors the depth of who you are.